of course, this has earlier it was mainly by boat that people fled, but lately with the opening of there has been some opening with the relations between the exiled Cubans and these contacts are allowed, have been allowed for some years now, because the Castro regime needs this support that the Cubans get from their families. These remittances are a part of the economy, a very important part of the military regime's economy, because they get part of these remittances. So some people have managed to flee other ways than by sea, and this happened when Raúl Castro agreed with Ecuador that it should be easy to go to Ecuador, and people can go there without any visa. So that was the main road track to go to Ecuador, and from Ecuador all the way up to the Mexican border with the United States, and then they get into the United States. And this wave has become very big. But last year or this year, these borders have more and more been closed and obstructed. So, but the Cubans find other ways. They go through Russia and Europe and whatever ways to hopefully get to the United States. If they don't manage to get to the United States, they go abroad anyway, because they can't live in Cuba. The young generation see no future. And this will continue like this if there is not a profound change in Cuba. And Raúl Castro, he's not even trying to convince or cheat the population and say that times will become better. No, he's very pessimistic about the future, and he always complains about the people that they are not working hard enough. He's never consoling his own people, and Fidel didn't do that either. There was never any optimism or a nice approach to the Cuban people. So they feel hated by the regime, and they hate the regime. I mean, 90% of the Cuban population is very negative to the regime. So this flow of refugees will continue for sure. And about the future of Cuba, I think the very close future. I mean, this year already, there will be hard times economically, because the country on which Cuba is leaning on, has been leaning on for the last 10 years, Venezuela, is not capable of supporting Cuba in the way that it has done during these 10 years. And Cuba has always been a parasitical state. In the early years, they lived from the Soviet Union. And when that collapsed, they had a period of nearly starvation, very hard times for some 5, 6, 10 years. But Venezuela came in and saved the regime from collapsing, and now they had hoped for the United States, but that will not come through now with Trump. So times will be very hard, and I think there will be energy collapses, because the system of the energetic system is very destroyed or very inefficient, and that might cause protests, but the Cubans, they prefer fleeing the country to protest. So I expect a big a bigger refugee flow in the future. And we will see. Raúl Castro has said that he will retire in 2018, and he has a vice president, Díaz-Canel, put there as a proposed successor, but that will probably not be so. He will, if this will be so, it will be like he will be a staffage figure, and in the back, the militaries will continue to reign, because it is a military state, and the military owns or manages the whole economy. The tourist industry, all the economy, the military governs, manages. So this will, I don't think they will let go that easy of their privileges, and that means that if they will stay with these privileges, they will have to oppress the discontent in the population. And so this is what I think of the future. What we can hope for is that the discontent is so big that some reaction will come through, in fact. But international solidarity is very difficult to believe in. Nowadays, no governments, the European Union just abandoned Cuba. They had always been very critical to this regime, but they have decided to go for only business. They only go for business nowadays. And the same is with the United States, I think. I mean, it's only business that they're interested in. But there is no big business in Cuba. It's poorer than Haiti. It's an extremely poor country. And for education, well, they are educated, but they are badly educated, and they are not updated. The university studies are very old-fashioned and very not updated to international standard. The doctors have to re-educate themselves when they go abroad. So this is, I'm not very optimistic about the future.
Raúl Castro ha robado mucho, los Castro han robado mucho, la familia.
Yeah, the Castro families has enriched themselves extremely, and there is no transparency in the economy. Nobody knows or where the money goes. And the only thing we know is that it's extremely corrupt, and that there are a lot of bank accounts abroad. And they say that Fidel Castro is, Forbes has said that he was one of the richest men in the world. He has accounts. He had accounts abroad, and who owns them today we don't know. And all the kids of the nomenclatura, they study abroad, they live abroad, they have their mansions and their luxurious villas abroad and their yachts and whatever. But the level of life in Cuba is miserable. If you go out in the countryside or in the suburbs of Havana, you will see that people live from nothing. They have no shoes on their feet. They can't send, some families can't send their kids to school because they have no shoes. And if they get one meal a day per day, it's good in some families, because many really live bad nutrition, and this this is never admitted by this Castro regime. They lie about everything, about education, about health. The health system is collapsing. All the doctors are sent abroad on slave salaries. They are sold, and the government earns a lot on this export. The doctors, there are not enough doctors in Cuba today, so they use students. In schools, there are not enough teachers, so they teach through television. And to get a good health service, you have to pay the doctors. It's not free. You have to pay under the table to get the decent service. And in schools, you have to pay the teachers to get a good note. Otherwise, you are not passed. If you are in opposition, it's very dangerous to go to the hospital. And if you are in the opposition, the whole family is expelled. They are not allowed to study in the university. And the school children, they get bad notes overall because they belong to a family of opposition. So this country and this regime has lived from officially and internationally on a very big lie that nobody is trying to prove. The statistics that they send abroad, the UN, who are bought by the regime through their doctors and whatever, they spread this information like if it was a truth. And it's only lies. The country is miserable, in a miserable state.
Está bueno.
¿Tú grabaste eso?
Está grabado.